Welcome to San Francisco, to Golden Gate Park, and I am sitting in the only electric convertible you can buy in America, the Smart Fortwo Electric. Coming up next on the Fast Lane Car. All right, now under the hood, and yes, this is a hood because right down here is where the 96 horsepower electric motor lives. And right here, here's where the magic happens. That's your recharger. And if you have a 220 watt charging station, it'll take you 6 hours to recharge this thing from a dead battery. If you don't, and you have to plug it in at home, if you don't, and you have to plug this thing at home, it's going to take 14 hours.
An interesting statistic we digged out. Every day, approximately 100 million US Americans go to work or drive to work on their own, which, if you do the math, probably equivalents to about 300 million empty car seats every day. So we think the Smart is a perfect solution for the urban requirements, for the daily commute. Certainly not the long drives, 100 miles plus. But the electric drive has a range certified of 68 miles.
Okay. On a full charge.
On a full charge, we think in reality this could as well be in the 80 miles. The EPA tends to be a little conservative with their ratings.
What's your MPGe?
It's 107 combined, okay. 122 in the city.
Now, I've been lucky enough to drive most electric cars that are on the market. I can tell you that the Fiat 500e, that's the most fun. The Tesla Model S, that's the most luxurious and the most powerful. The Leaf, well, that one is a great little commuter car. And the Smart Electric, this one is a great little urban car. It is a lot of fun to zip in and out of traffic, and if you think about it as a very safe commuting scooter, and as a relatively inexpensive way to get into an electric car, and if you can live with only 2 seats, it's not a bad little car to own, especially if you think that you can lease it now for $139 a month. Now, you had mentioned your competitors, and obviously in California, I would think it's the Fiat 500e. In the rest of the country, it's probably the Leaf. Are there any others that I'm missing?
A new one is the Chevy Spark,
yes.
Just being introduced.
Yep.
But yeah, you basically mentioned the most crucial ones.
And what makes this a better vehicle than those?
As mentioned, it's definitely more affordable.
Yep. 25,000.
25,000. Again, always important to mention that's even before tax incentives. So you can.
It varies by state.
It varies by state, but there is a $7,500 credit nationwide. It's a 2-seater, yes. Which makes it the perfect solution for city driving. Interesting statistic that Smart customers, in average, spend about 40% less time looking for a parking space. It doesn't come as a surprise.
Because you can park it like this car. You can just back it up into the space, which is pretty cool. All right, style-wise, well, what makes the Smart Fortwo unique is that it's tiny. In fact, you can park it backing up into a space, which is really good if you live in the city. The electric car is almost identical to the gasoline-powered one, except for on the dash where you have 2 extra gauges. One that tells you the amount of power you're using, and one that tells you the amount of charge you have left. Otherwise, it drives better than the regular Smart because the battery is in the floor plan. Otherwise, it drives better than the regular Smart because the battery is in the floor pan, and that means it's got a lower center of gravity, plus it's got all that torque, which is so much fun. Now on the inside, the Smart is pretty basic. There aren't a lot of options. In fact, You can get heated seats, you can get navigation. Now, I tried to do a 0 to 60. No, I didn't. I can't do that in San Francisco. I set it up, but there's no way. Smart says it'll do it in 11.5 seconds, and we'll have to wait and see until we get it in Colorado if that's real or not. And will be available across the country or just in California?
So for now, the Model Year 13 we have launched in California in all of the so-called ZEV states.
Yep.
And then as we approach Model Year 14 later this year, we will do a nationwide launch.
So eventually it'll be available. Is it available for sale here now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you can go to your Smart dealership and buy
absolutely. It's been hitting the showrooms in May of this year.
Okay, and this is an easy question, but I always like to ask it. What's your favorite part of the car, personally? I mean, you probably drive it a lot.
I like the transmission, the single-speed transmission. So when you step on it, we call it smooth sailing, and no gear shifts. You have 96 pound-foot of torque available right from the start.
Which is a lot for a small car like this.
It's a lot. I mean, the car just weighs slightly above 2,000 pounds. So you can actually scare some big guys at the red traffic light. I like that.
You know what? It's very similar to driving a motorcycle. The seats are rock hard, the brake pedal is rock hard, but once you're used to the fact that you're not going to be taking this car cross country, because you're not, and you're using it as, well, an urban scooter, it's a lot of fun. And obviously you've got all the airbags and the safety features, because I think people are going to be concerned about that being in such a small car.
It's something we hear a lot from customers being concerned with. How can a small vehicle like this really be safe? So what we do on many of the auto shows, we show the Tritium safety cell that obviously I can show inside here is basically something we compare to a rollover cage in a race car, made out of high-strength steel, wrapping around the passengers, protecting in case of a crash test. The NHTSA has tested the Smart Electric Drive last week for the US NCAP crash test. It's a little too early to announce the results, but we can promise that those results will actually reflect the actual safety level of the car.
Good.
Two more things. The coupe has 8 airbags standard. All the active safety systems that you're used to from Mercedes, ESP, ABS, obviously all in the car as well.
If I lived in a city like San Francisco, New York, or LA, I would think twice before not investing in electricity because, well, there's a lot of benefits to a car like this. And I'm not talking about the fact that you're saving money by not having to spend as much money on fuel. I'm talking about the fact that you get all this torque that lets you zip around like you're on steroids. Woohoo! Here we go! That's full throttle! Of course, I'm burning a lot of power doing that, but who cares? That's what I'm talking about. The California fog in my hair, the Golden Gate Bridge, let me show you. Over my shoulder, and no carbon or very little carbon being burned on this test drive. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. See you next time, and thanks for watching. Ciao. It's funny, people seem to treat you with a lot more, well, warm-heartedness, kind-heartedness when you're in a smart electric car, and that's because it's so tiny, it's non-threatening, it's the pickup truck, if you know what I mean. You're just so small and so cute that you get a little bit more leeway when you're driving around in this car.